Sit right back, the time is now. Tammy's gonna show you how to cook it up like Mama used to do. Well, she makes it easy, she shows you tricks. Before too long, get all real quick, and the all-star of the kitchen will be you.
Hey y'all, it's Tammy with Collard Valley Cooks, and today I'm making one of my very favorites, and that is my chicken pot pie. And I can guarantee if you make this chicken pot pie, you'll make it again. So the first thing you're gonna need is chicken. And in my recipe, I tell you to boil a chicken, and I tell you how to boil it. If you don't want to do that, you can always buy a rotisserie, take the chicken off the bone, and that's what I've actually done for today's chicken pot pie. We're going to be using a white milk gravy, so you're going to need milk, salt, pepper, a little bit of chicken bouillon, and 2 cans of mixed vegetables. Yes, I use canned vegetables because they're nice and soft and delicious, and I don't like crunchy vegetables in my chicken pot pie, and y'all, it's really good. So I also use Pillsbury or the store brand. These are actually Walmart's pie crusts. They're refrigerated pie crusts in the refrigerated section, and I'm telling you, it's about to be Thanksgiving, and these things are the bomb to make a lot of things out of. So I would suggest the next time you're in the grocery store, you get you some. But first, we're going to drain some vegetables. I've got 2 cans of mixed vegetables. So you're just going to put your mixed vegetables in the bowl you're going to mix your chicken pot pie in. Matter of fact, I may have to get a bigger one. I don't think that one's going to be big enough. So let me go over here and get a bigger bowl. We'll use this large bowl, okay? Now we're going to chop some chicken. This is good, tender rotisserie chicken that I got from Sam's Club. Their chickens always have plenty of meat on them. We always get at least 2 meals off of them. So we're just going to chop it up and add it to our bowl. It's going to be good. It smells so good. Now we're going to add our drained vegetables to our bowl. And now we're just going to pour our delicious gravy over the top of it. It's going to be super delicious, I promise you. Now, for the first layer of the pie crust, you're just going to take this out of the package, unroll it, make sure it's at room temperature, and lay it in the bottom of your skillet or baking dish. You can use a baking dish to do this pie. If you've got a round one, you're probably going to need an oblong one because there's so much that we're making. You need to make sure it fits. Now, pie crust has a lot of oil and grease in it, so you don't have to grease your baking dish on the bottom. You can spray around the edge here if you want to, but I don't typically, but you can if you want to. Make it easy on myself to clean. So remember that underneath the pie crust, it's going to remain nice and greasy, so you don't have to spray that part. I'm going to take my 3 cups of milk, and I'm going to add some chicken bouillon to it because I don't have any broth to use today. You can mix up milk and broth and go half and half with each if you want to. This is a tablespoon of chicken bouillon. This also adds salt with a little bit of spices as well. It's just good. So put some in there, at least a tablespoon if it's the granules. Mix it up, and that will make your gravy even better. Now, if all you have is a cube of bouillon and not the granules, you'll have to warm your milk or your broth in the microwave and get it good and hot, and then let that dissolve in your liquid before you make your gravy so that it's distributed throughout the gravy. You wouldn't want to add a hunk of bouillon unless it has melted and got distributed, okay? That's why I love to buy the granules. Now it's time to make the gravy, and this is the best part about my chicken pot pie. This is what makes it taste so good. A lot of y'all use the cream of chicken and all that. I'm gonna tell you, if you ever do it this way, you'll never not do it this way. It's so good. Everybody that tries my chicken pot pie loves it. If you have tried this recipe, how about leaving a comment and letting me know how much you liked it? And that way everybody will see how good it is and want to make it themselves. All right, we're going to start with a 1/2 cup of shortening. You need a 1/2 cup of flour, and I like to use it in a sifter, but you don't have to have it in a sifter. And you're going to add a couple of tablespoons of butter just to make it delicious. Now, once that melts, we'll be adding our flour. If you decide to add the extra butter, you may want to put a little bit of extra flour in there. Boy, don't that look good already. The thing that I love to use is a gravy whisk. So let's grab it. And you're going to whisk this flour into this shortening and butter. And it's pretty runny. I'm going to add a little extra flour since I added that butter. And you're going to cook this until the flour starts to brown. Just remember, when you're making a gravy, you want equal parts shortening or grease, whatever kind of grease you're using, whether it's bacon grease, shortening, butter, equal parts of that oil to equal parts of your flour. And you're going to cook it until you start to smell that flour brown. And you'll smell it, and it will also start turning a golden color. It takes it a minute to cook. All right. Now it is ready to add the milk to. So we're going to add our milk. And bouillon. That bouillon's kind of settled in the bottom. I'm going to mix it a little bit. And now you're going to, it's still in there. I want all that bouillon in there to make it taste good. And now you're just going to cook it until it gets thick. So just let it sit on there and get really hot and bubbly. And then you can add it to your chicken and vegetables. We're going to go ahead and put some pepper in here. Now it's got the salt in it from the bouillon. So I'm going to wait and taste it before I add any more salt. We may salt it as I'm putting it in the dish. So you're going to scrape around the edges and the bottom as it thickens. It's already getting thick. And as soon as it gets hot, now it's going to thicken pretty quick. It's thick. We're going to turn it off and get it over here. All right, you know how I told you we were going to taste this and make sure it's salty enough before we add it? That's what I'm going to do right now. And it has plenty of salt in it. More than enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to pour it over these vegetables. It's got lots of pepper in it. You want plenty of pepper in a chicken pot pie. Pepper makes it taste really good too. So you're just going to mix it up like that. And then we're going to pour it in our shell. Now this has to bake for an hour in the oven so that the crust gets good and brown. Because what makes a chicken pot pie so good? The pie crust. It also helps, y'all. So we're going to put that on the top of that pie crust. Just like that. And it's super fast. It doesn't take long to put together. And it's got such a homemade vibe to it because of the gravy. So you're going to roll out your other crust on top of it. Just like that. Now, if you want to get one of these 3-inch deep iron skillets, I'm going to tell you, you will not be sorry you did, because I use this thing for all kind of stuff. It's great to fry chicken in. It's wonderful for these chicken pot pies. So, I'm going to take a knife, and I'm just going to put some slits in it. And we're going to get it in the oven and bake it at 350 degrees for an hour. We'll see when it comes out of the oven. I sure am looking forward to this wonderful chicken pot pie. And it's heavy, y'all. I can't even pick it up by myself. I mean, with one hand. All right, let's get it in there. I have a lot of y'all ask me why I have my oven racked down lower than most people, and it's so that you guys can watch things bake. That's the only reason I do it. All right, let's get it out of the oven, y'all. Now, if you've got yours in cast iron, oh, it's so heavy. You can turn up the oven to get it more brown if you want to, because it's in cast iron and the temperature's not going to hurt it. So, if you want it really dark, remember, if you got it in cast iron, you can turn up the heat more. But if you've got it in a glass dish, make sure that you don't turn it up too high for the glass dish you have it in. We're gonna let this cool just a minute, just so that I can dip into it without it smoking like crazy, because me and Chris are hungry for lunch, aren't we, Chris?
I'm hungry.
Woo, we're hungry. Now that's a chicken pot pie. I bet it weighs easily 5 pounds. Me and Chris just can't wait, so we're gonna eat. It is still really hot, so it's gonna smoke, but we are hungry. See, the crust on the bottom is nice and brown. There's plenty of good stuff to go on it. Boy, I had a lot of stuffing in this one. Last time I made one, when I dipped it, you could see the bottom. But we got the extra in this one. Boy, don't that look good. So I'm going to taste it right quick, and we're going to sign off of here because I'm hungry. You want to get you a piece of crust. See how nice and flaky that crust is on there? It is so good, y'all. That homemade gravy. Delish. And everybody that makes one of these say that they eat it all up. Hardly anybody has leftovers. But if you have leftovers and you got an air fryer, you could put it in an 8-inch cake pan. If it don't have the little handles on the sides, put it in your air fryer, and it'll make this crust nice and flaky all over again. Man, my kids love this, and I do too. May, we're going to see May because it's her birthday this weekend, or this week coming up, and I'll have to take her some chicken pot pie, and she can warm it up in her air fryer, and it's going to be delicious for her too. So, we thank you so much for watching our amazingly delicious chicken pot pie for real. We'll see you next time on Collard Valley Cooks, where we cook like our mamas did.
Cooking time, it's over now. Tammy, she just showed you how to cook it up like Mama used to do. So go on.